Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to It's Not Common Sense on MMA, and today we are breaking down the first big card of the year.
Oh yeah,
UFC 283, Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill.
Ooh, now the UFC were just like, you know what, guys, it's the start of the year. Here you go. Give the fans what they want, because this card, holy shit, this card is stacked.
Yeah.
There's just, oh God, it's just beautiful. We've got the vacant light heavyweight title, Jamal Hill versus Glover Teixeira. Now this bout, there's just so much drama in the past 2 months, you know? So everyone knows Glover Teixeira was going to fight Ihor. Ihor got an injury, had to vacate the bout. Glover couldn't fight in time for 282, so Jan and uncle of Magomedov stepped up for the vacant bout. The fight was a back and forth. It wasn't amazing, but it ended up as a draw, split decision. The judges, I don't know what the judges were doing that night, and all I know is that everyone was pissed off. So everyone was pissed off. Even Dana was pissed off. So much so that he just said in 2 months' time, he said, it's Glover Teixeira versus Jamal Hill for the belt. It's done. Like, that was on the night he had already planned for this fight. You know what I mean?
Which led us to this really interesting stylistic matchup that we have right here.
Yeah.
So now, Jamal Hill, everybody knows, he's basically the Derek Lewis of the light heavyweight division.
Just knocking everyone out, just throwing hands.
Exactly. He is a serious brawler, a proper striker, and the only blemish on his career is a single submission against Paul Craig.
Yeah.
And sometimes that submission actually makes him look a little bit cooler, because he got his arm deep into a triangle armbar. His arm got completely dislocated from the elbow, and he just pulled it out and it was flopping it around.
Everyone
and he
thought it was
trying
broken.
to knock him out.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was broken and snapped. He didn't care. He just flopped it out and he just wanted to keep on fighting. So Jamal Hill has an incredible amount of heart and mental endurance to withstand. Now Glover Teixeira, it's the exact same thing. He is a resilient veteran of the game.
It's the exact same, but through experience.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He's 42, and his chin is still like, it's just iron.
Exactly.
Like,
and some say that Glover Teixeira is one of the greatest submission grapplers in the history of the light heavyweight division. And the one flaw that we can say in Jamal Hill's game is his grappling. So stylistically, that's a really interesting matchup for that reason.
Definitely. And like you even saw in the Ihor fight, the moment he gave Glover just one small chance to take his back or get on him and get to the ground, you know, Glover was on him. Didn't waste any time. So Jamal Hill's got to be extremely prepared for this fight. You know what I mean? But if he wins it, whoa, you got to put respect on his name, and the whole division gets turned on his head. It's it's such a fresh fight. It just feels fresh. It feels new, and I just think everyone's excited for it. But moving on to another fight that is just, there's so much to unpack here. We got a flyweight title bout. Deiveson Figueiredo versus Brandon Moreno for the first time ever, a fourth fight in their little, what do you even call it? It's not a trilogy anymore.
It's a quadrilogy.
Is that even a word?
I don't know. I do not know.
We don't know what to call it because it's never happened before. Oh, dude, this fight is just...
This fight is going to be super, super interesting. Now, these guys, circumstance just keeps pulling them together.
They fought each other for like the past 3 years now, 4 years.
For the past 3 or 4 years, they've been fighting each other. And most recently, what happened was Brandon Moreno went up against Kai Kara-France.
For the interim bout.
Everyone was like, Kai Kara-France is going to take this. He's hot. He's in form.
He was looking good because he just beat Cody. He knocked out Cody.
He just knocked out Cody Garbrandt. And Brandon Moreno KOs him with a body shot.
But not only that, but that up until that point, Brandon Moreno was just looking cool, calm, casual. He was just in control. Kai Kara-France just didn't look like he normally looked. I don't know if it was simply he was having a bad night, or it was because Brandon Moreno is just that good that he was just fucking with him and messing with Kai Kara-France's game plan.
But now there's a really interesting factor to this one that nobody's talking about just yet.
Yeah.
Brandon Moreno's coach was James Krause.
Okay.
The man who is now barred from any and all UFC engagements or fights, or in training any UFC fighters. So now we're in a situation where the guy who trained the champion can no longer train the champion. Is he going to be as good as he was when he fought Deiveson? And we know Deiveson Figueiredo, he's been training with Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo upped his game a lot, changed the way that he fights. This is going to be a really interesting flyweight title fight.
This is going to be so good. Now, it's 2-1 at the moment for Figueiredo. So if Brandon Moreno wins this fight, it's now 2-2, which means for the first time there's going to be a 5-fight bloody contestant between two men.
And nobody's mad too. Yeah, that's the craziest thing. Nobody is like, oh my God, they're stalling the division.
Yeah, because at the same time, like, where is everybody else? Because Kakar France was the only one actually making waves and getting there, and then Brandon Moreno just shut him down and said, no, this is where we stand. You stay there. Look, I just, at this point, there's not much to say. You know who they are. They fought 3 times already. They're fighting a 4th time. I mean, it's just going to be a show. Just enjoy it.
So now, moving on to our next super interesting fight. Yeah. Right before we go into our mains, I think you could call this a co-main.
Almost, yeah, you actually could.
It's almost.
You could.
It's
I
like
see what you're saying.
A pre-co-main. We've got Gilbert Burns versus Neil Magny. Now, this is a super interesting fight. Neil Magny most recently just got the record for the most UFC welterweight wins.
Yeah, exactly. That's in the welterweight division. That is so impressive. I mean, come on.
Just recently passed George St. Pierre, and he did that in his most recent victory against Daniel Rodrigues.
Or D-Rod.
So Neil Magny's been in a pretty interesting spot recently.
Yeah.
He's 1-1 in his last 2. He lost to Shavkat. Gilbert Burns is 2-2.
Yeah.
But his only losses in that
top
run
dogs
are championship guys. It's Usman and it's Khamzat Chimaev.
And the Khamzat fight was a little controversial because I do know a lot of people said it could have swung either way there.
Exactly.
Some people could have said Gilbert could have won that fight. The only thing with Gilbert Burns is it really does feel like he's sort of slowing down a bit. He's not as active anymore. And look, I don't know, maybe it's just the welterweight division being so stacked as it is. But it is quite an interesting fight for Burns to go up against Neil Magny in terms of the leaderboard. They're so far apart from each other. You'd think Gilbert Burns, because he won his last fight, which I believe was Wonderboy Thompson, I think.
Yeah.
So you think your top 5, you're coming off a win, you think you'd be trying to get back into contention. But, I mean, at the same time, Gilbert Burns is such a chill guy. He's also one of those, I'll just take anybody.
This might also be one of those, I'm going to do a quick legacy fight whilst I wait for this championship mess to get
You know what, that's so
fixed.
true. Because more than likely, Usman's going to fight Edwards again. More than likely.
Yeah, unless they do something ridiculous at the moment. But now, stylistically, this is also a super interesting fight. Because Gilbert Burns, heavy-handed guy, but also something that a lot of people don't talk about.
Ground game.
This guy was a world jiu-jitsu champion.
Yep.
He was a world jiu-jitsu champion, and he's going up against a guy, Neil Magny, who, I don't want to use the term lay and pray, but he has mastered frustrating his opponents.
Yeah.
That Corey Anderson style, that I'm going to push you up against the fence, take you down, and I'm going to frustrate you. And when that doesn't work, Neil Magny has problems.
Yeah.
But against most opponents, that works. And that's why he has the welterweight winning record.
But also, Gilbert Burns is not just he's a big man. Like you said, he hits hard, so naturally he's a bulky guy, which means naturally on his back, I'm sure he's still got power.
It's dangerous.
And I don't think Neil Magny can deal with it in terms of just lay and pray. I don't think it's going to work, but hey man, that fight could go either way. That's what's so crazy about it. Exactly. It's awesome, yeah. And speaking of tough hurdles to get over, we've got a women's flyweight bout, which is another really interesting one. Jessica Andrade versus...
My name is Lauren! My name is Lauren!
Which is just a really, really good fight, eh?
Yeah, this is going to be a super exciting fight. First and foremost, my name is Lauren Murphy.
Bob.
Barb.
Barb's on the blue team!
Bob!
So she has 4 wins in her last 5 fights. Her only loss is against the queen herself, Valentina Shevchenko.
It was a bad loss, though.
She did not look good. She looked really bad, but who looks good against Shevchenko?
That's true.
Unless your name is Nunes, you don't look good against Shevchenko. Jessica Andrade, she's coming off of 2 wins. One of those being a highlight standing arm triangle.
Oh, yeah,
which was insane to watch.
So cool.
So with this kind of fight, like, you've got somebody in Barb who's got a really frustrating style where she kind of just... She does what needs to be done to win the fight. She'll take you down when she needs to take you down. She'll jab when she needs to jab. She'll hurt you when she needs to hurt you. But she's not going to be one of those who's looking for the finish.
Yeah.
She's going to be trying to win by decision.
The problem with that is to frustrate someone like Jessica Andrade. So like we were saying earlier, like Jessica Andrade was one of the first like powerful women in that division. One of the first powerhouses to just come in and start knocking people out. If they've never fought her before, I feel a lot of people are just not prepared for that power. I mean, look what happened to Rose. Rose was sure as shit not prepared to get dunked on her head like that.
Same with Karolina Kowalkiewicz.
Yeah, dude. And I just think Lauren Murphy might not be prepared. I mean, in terms of the stand-up, Shevchenko was making her look silly. I just think Andrade's power might do the same. But then again, Barb is very unpredictable. She's back and forth. I mean, yeah, it's just going to be a great fight, dude.
It's going to be an excellent fight. And rounding out our main card, we have a really interesting matchup of striker versus grappler in Johnny Walker versus Paul Craig. Now, with this one right here, as I said it before, you've got our grappler in Paul Craig, our Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ace.
Probably, in my opinion, had the best submission of 2022.
Oh, yeah.
Like, damn, yeah. But then he's going up against Johnny Walker, who at one point was, before he decided to do the worm in a very bad way, he was literally the guy that everyone was saying, this is the guy that can beat John Jones.
Yeah.
This is the guy that can bring it to John Jones. And unfortunately, after that injury, it just hasn't been the same for him, man. It's just been, I think it's a couple of injuries, and then it's just been win, lose, win, lose. His most recent fight was the loss against Jamal Hill, where it just didn't look pretty for him. He didn't look like he hit the floor in a safe way.
Exactly.
So he's definitely looking to bounce back. I am worried that, I think if Johnny Walker loses this fight, I don't know, man. I think he might be done in the UFC. Like, he might just move on. But I just think it's a fight where Johnny Walker's just trying to stay relevant, just trying to stay in the win column and get back in there. And Paul Craig is just looking at this as another stepping stone. And if Paul Craig wins, being the only guy who's beaten Jamal Hill, oh, what a call out for him. It's a great night for him if he wins with like a first round submission.
Yeah, if he wins and then Jamal Hill wins, whoa, he's in a seriously like good looking place to get a title shot.
100%, dude. So yeah, dude, there's so many like implications for these fights in the main card. A lot of stuff after this night, a lot of things are gonna be happening.
Exactly.
So this is just a great main card. I just see a lot of emotions. Prelims, we've got some really, really cool names going on there as well. Do you want to just start us off, bro?
Yeah, so we're just going to touch on these prelim fights a little bit. We've got Mauricio Shogun Ihor versus Ihor Potieria.
I can't believe he's still
don't know
fighting.
Too much about. Yeah, I mean, like, this is another one where it's like, Shogun, I can't believe you're still fighting. I can't believe this is a guy who is a Pride veteran. Who had like some of the most wins in Pride, who's continuing to fight in the UFC right now.
Wow.
I'm hoping it's one of his last fights. I'm hoping it is a retirement fight because Father Time is undefeated and I don't want to see Shogun start getting knocked out viciously.
Yeah, I don't want to see him end it that way. It won't be good.
Exactly. Somehow he's been able to avoid that. The guy he's versing at the moment, we don't know too much about him. He's 19-3. He's a well-rounded guy, and he's coming off of a loss currently.
Okay.
So,
but like, it's mainly, look, it's Shogun Ihor. That's what we're here for. Let's be real. But I mean, hey man, if you beat Shogun Ihor, that's a great thing to have on your resume.
Yeah, that's a young guy with a pretty crazy record, Ukrainian dude. So I worry about Shogun in this fight. I worry he might seriously get hurt.
I think there's just something for everyone on this one, huh? Prelims, you got a lot of good ones, and that main event, it's beautiful. But yeah, that's pretty much, in terms of me, that's pretty much all the names that stand out to me. This card's going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah, so this is just going to be a really, really, really stacked card that I'm really excited to watch. I just really want to know what's going to happen in terms of implications for the rest of the division. This card is going to have some serious title implications for everybody in the division. And right now with the light heavyweight division, we don't know where it's going to go. So you write in the comments where you think the light heavyweight division is going to go and what you think the implications of this are going to be. And also, what's going to happen to the flyweights?
Yeah, what's going on, guys?
If Brandon Moreno wins that fight and then they end up having to go for a 5th time, are we going to have some kind of a flyweight tournament happening with the contenders to see who's going to be the one to finally fight for the belt?
That'd be wild. And if Deiveson Figueiredo keeps the belt, what is he going to do? At this point, does he just need to move to another division and try a double champ? Like, because he's been fighting the same guy for 3 years now.
Exactly.
But yeah, no. There's just so much to talk about on this card. And yeah, we just look forward to hearing what you guys have to say in the comments.
All right.
That's pretty much it from us. Yeah. Woo!